All right, welcome class. What's going on? Welcome to week number 9. That is right, week number 9 of your 9410 Cultural Heritage course for spring 2021. As always, I am your professor, Dr. Jace K. Austin, and we are actually going to make this one brief this evening. I know I say that a lot, but I'm telling the truth this time because I have a whole lot to grade. And so, yeah, I don't have a lot of time to just soapbox as much as I would want to. But I think that you actually have some pretty heavy and at times rather morbid readings this week for the cemeteries module. So, but there's some interesting stuff, and I'm also glad that I was able to get a reading based in St. Louis, so a Missouri reading. I try to make this course feel kind of localized, I guess. I don't know. Even though probably half of you aren't even in Missouri, but still, I want to, for those of you who are in Missouri, this is your flagship institution, so I need to represent it at least to a little extent. I'm going to do one quick course update. First of all, now believe it or not, I am almost done with grading your first papers. It's coming. I apologize that it's been so slow. But it's coming. It's coming. I promise you it's coming. And those should be done by the end of the week. I do want to also let you know that the assignments, you have a very easy, and it's linked, it's actually linked to this module, to this week 9 module, but it won't actually be due until March the 28th. So I'm going to make it due basically I'm going to give you spring break if you want to do work and catch up on the work for spring break. And that's when that's going to be due. So this little midterm that you see here that I'm telling you have to do for 4 points, believe it or not, this midterm is actually really, really easy. I am just making sure that you understand some very, very basic concepts. So the midterm is not something that you need to go back and study all the past course material for. I didn't want this course to be stressful, and I'm not going to make it stressful. You have to do a little bit of work, but I was hoping to make the readings interesting and hoping to make the modules and content interesting, and I hope you felt that it has been. So this isn't the midterm like if you I think it's been so while since I taught collection development, but I think there's like a midterm in collection development that you actually do have to honestly prepare for. I didn't do you all like that. This midterm is kind of a breeze. If you understand very basic concepts that were introduced in the class, then you're going to do fine on the midterm, okay? But don't forget to do the midterm because that's 4 easy points that you're going to want to pick up. So yeah, so that's attached to this module. And I do just want to say very quickly that the cemeteries are, I think, very and burial places are a rather underappreciated element to cultural heritage. And in fact, one terrible thing that happens is that they're so underappreciated that they get built on top of. Development happens, and it happens with white cemeteries too, but definitely with indigenous cemeteries and with black cemeteries, they just get a lot of times they are in disrepair already, and then a lot of times they're just developed over. So I guess remember, Native lives matter, Black lives matter, and I think that these cemeteries need to be appreciated because they do hold so much of the record of the past, believe it or not, and they're just important. And one of my favorite stories that I read, probably one of my favorite news stories that I've read probably within the last 5 years, was one of the assigned readings where the Boy Scout actually helped with repair of a black cemetery. And I'm off Facebook, so I wish I'd have kept the comments that were made about that in a Facebook group that I was in. But there was a debate about whether or not this was an example of white white savior complex. If you don't know what that is, by the way, please Google that. I'm not going to take the time in this video to explain what that is. It's something you can Google very easily. The people of color, it was actually, and I talk about race a lot. Sorry if that makes you uncomfortable, but it was a necessary thing to approach where I'm from because, believe it or not, the Ku Klux Klan is actually still listed in the phone book today where I'm from. That's the type of place that I'm from, y'all. So, race was something that I had to deal with at a very early age and never stopped dealing with. And depending on where you live in the country, it's dealt with in very different ways. So I've noticed that people find my approach to discussing race here in the Midwest to be kind of abrasive or offensive, but it's something that people in the South, they thought in the South I was actually one of the easy people to talk to when it came to race because, I can. I definitely have my views, but I can listen to people and have a contentious discussion with them and then hug them afterwards, and that's just how it's different in the South compared to the Midwest. But yeah, just getting back on topic, it was actually some white liberal people who were saying, "Oh, this kid doing this thing about the cemetery repair. This is white savior complex, blah blah blah." And it was actually the people of color who kind of fired back and were just like, "No, it's not." Listen to how the kid talks. It's not white savior complex. He's not saying their history. He's saying our history. So he's almost looking at it as shared history. And another reason why the people of color in this group were saying that no, it's not white savior complex was because this young man was not trying to make it about him. Like when you read that article, you see that he tries to involve the other Boy Scouts and tries to involve people in the community and does not try to make it his project. And that is something, and I've seen that, and you see it a lot because there are a lot of, I'm just going to, again, tell it like I feel it is, and you're free to disagree with me, and we can have a civil conversation. But I feel that in libraries these days, there's a lot of I think that there are a lot of, I guess, well-intentioned white liberals, but they still kind of, I don't expect a white person to see things from a person of color's point of view any more than, as you can see, I shouldn't say as you can see, but I identify, that's better. I identify as a man, and so, no, I'm not going to readily see things from a woman's point of view. What perspective can a man have on female lived experiences, on women's lived experiences? What type of perspective can a male really have on those? And so, the way that we identify and manifest in society, I feel that, it makes us privy to some perspectives, but it also makes us inevitably unable to 100% relate to other perspectives. But I think that again, people will disagree, but I think that all it takes is for people to listen. Just listen, I don't need to tell or try to tell women how to see things. I just need to listen when women say, "Hey, this is what we go through. And you need to understand and be respectful about this and respect the fact that you will never understand that." And, and so it's the same, I think that there's an intersectionality there. And so similar things can be said on account of race and ethnicity. This young man, it seemed that it was actually a consensus in this Facebook group that no, he was not exhibiting white savior complex. He was actually just trying to preserve history for and do preservation of heritage for for a situation that needed that type of help. And that's the thing that you find. That's not the thing that you find in a lot of libraries. You actually find the opposite. You will find a lot of people trying to make that work about them. And one thing that this kid does is he does not make this about him. He makes it about the population that is to benefit from that work, and to me that means a lot. And so he has all the respect in the world from me. But just make sure that, and you run into it again. You run into it in libraries where white liberal people will, they'll do the diversity work, but then they'll make it about themselves, or they'll say, this is what I did, and this is my greatness, and then they will be very, very, they will be very standoffish if a person of color actually comes back and says, this wasn't an appropriate way to go about it. It's almost like, how dare you? How dare you question my motives, or how dare you not say that I'm doing great because I'm doing more than the white people who don't care. And so there's a lot to juggle with that, but just discussing race in LIS, it's exhausting, but it needs to be done. And so I'm sorry for anyone who feels uncomfortable when I'm doing it, but again, it needs to be done, so I'm going to do it. And I am the only Black faculty member here. I'm not the only faculty member of color here at CISL, but I am the only Black faculty member here at CISL. So yes, I believe it or not, and you might not feel this way now, but hopefully later in your career you will. But believe it or not, I actually owe you. You all are my students, so I actually do need to do the labor. I owe you as my students to offer you that there is a Black perspective, and that there are things going on with that. And so, just be mindful of those things. But please, I hope you enjoy and learn from this week's readings, and I hope that they help you with your understandings of cultural heritage and preservation. And that's all I need to say. So I did manage to keep this under 15 minutes. So yes, I am Dr. J's Peace and Grace, and we will see you next week, unless next week is spring break. If it is spring break, and I'll check tomorrow, but if it is spring break, I won't do a video, because it's spring break. Enjoy yourself. Okay, I'm out.